Now that we know everything about leadership, let us dig deeper into what organizational leadership is, its concepts, and definition.
Organizational leadership is a management approach in which leaders help set strategic goals for the organization while motivating individuals within the group to successfully carry out assignments in service to those goals.
Also, it is a dual-focused management approach that works together for the best of an individual or for the best of a group simultaneously.
It is also an attitude and a work ethic that empowers an individual in any role to lead from the top, middle, or bottom of an organization.
What do you think are the examples of an organizational leader?
It can be the company CEO, army general, political party leader, school superintendent, department head, team coach. These are but a few examples representing the two fundamental components of organizational leadership. First, there is the organization, which can be defined as a group of people organized for some end or work. Then, there is the leader, the person responsible for directing or guiding that group.
We have 5 different requirements for an organizational leader. The first is a worldview.
Organizational leadership requires developing an understanding of your own worldview as well as the worldviews of others. Worldview is a composite image created from the various lenses through which individuals view the world. It is not the same as identity, political stance, or religious viewpoint, but does include these things. It incorporates everything an individual believes about the world, combining the tangible and the intangible.
An individual's worldview is defined by that individual's attitudes, opinions, and beliefs, and also the other outside forces that the individual allows to influence them.
Worldview is the operating instructions for how the individual interfaces with the world. One who does not take into consideration how individuals interface with the world is in a much weaker position to lead these individuals. Furthermore, organizational leadership requires an understanding of the composite worldview of the organization, which consists of the many diverse and sometimes conflicting worldviews of the individuals within that organization.
Successful leadership is capitalizing on strengths and managing around weaknesses.
Strength can be defined as consistent, near perfect performance in an activity. An individual should perform an activity at around a 95% success rate to consider their performance of that activity as strength. Strength is not necessarily the same as ability. An ability is a strength only if you can fathom yourself doing it repeatedly, happily, and successfully.
The building blocks of strengths include talent, which are the naturally recurring patterns of thought, of behavior, and of feeling. The second one is the knowledge, which are the facts and the lessons learned. And the third one is skills, or the steps of an activity.
Developing strength in any activity requires certain natural talents. Although it is occasionally possible to build a strength without acquiring the relevant knowledge or skills, it is never to possess a strength without the requisite talent. The key to building bona fide strength is to identify your dominant talents and then refine them with knowledge and skills.
They are rarely well-rounded. On the contrary, they are sharp, The second is that they manage their weaknesses. They free them in order to hone their strengths into a sharper point. And the third one is that they work on their weaknesses in order for that to not undermine their strengths.
Ethics. Organizational leadership requires ethics. Ethics aids leaders in balancing truth and loyalty, individuals and communities, short-term and long-term, and justice versus mercy. Ethics is not an inoculation or a compromise. It is a process and a lens by which leaders approach a problem situation. Ethics call on us to be impartial yet engaged.
Effective leaders uses ethics to look for the hidden alternative in any ethically questionable situation. They use it as a compass to navigate what is right versus wrong, or even what is right versus right.
Communication is a tool for individuals to interface with one another, with groups, and with the rest of the world. It is not a text, email, phone call, or personal visit. These are methods or mediums of communication.
Effective communication requires the understanding of the VABEs of the person they are trying to communicate. This includes the values, the assumptions, the beliefs, and the expectation.
Understanding someone's worldview and VABEs enables leaders to acknowledge but look past differences, focus on areas of agreement, and to effectively listen for and hear the messages of others. Leaders can move beyond communication barriers like appearance, vocabulary, stutter, lisp, accent, and etc., and focus on the message of the speaker.
It is often the case that people do not want to be leaders for the fear of rejection. That is why those people who stand up as leaders are rejecting that fear, and they provide an example by adding value to an organization.
Managers and leaders are not the same. Leaders possess strategic thinking and not only an understanding of the vision of an organization, but also the ability to effectively carry out and communicate that vision. Anyone, anywhere, at any level can be a leader.
The cornerstones of leadership are truth-telling, promise-keeping, fairness, and respect for individuals.
These four cornerstones combined will determine how the individual leader is perceived by others, and in the case of organizational leadership, perception is reality for all effective purposes. A manager may have been delegated responsibility over many individuals, but in failing to exhibit the cornerstones of leadership or not possessing that requisite strength, ethics, communication, or grasp of worldviews, that manager is not a leader. In fact, that manager may very well manage a leader who does possess leadership traits.
Alright, because we already have an intensive knowledge about leadership and organizational leadership, let us now go into a particular example of an organizational leader, which is a school leader. That includes the school principals, the school heads, and the administrators. So, click on that video.